happy slightly after New Year, but it's alright because we are talking about a time-traveling deck. Because today, I have been putting this off for the longest time, but we are finally going to discuss Crowind. Not clear will be coming soon. I just really love this map. Really love Ruka. Thank you once again, Triple R. Everyone go support Triple R. But let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. With the starting Vanguard doesn't matter, so I'm just using yo boy. Clockheads is just so cool. Grade 1, Grade 2, this is actually a really good generic ride line that helps out other gear-based decks like, you know, Content Dragon. Basically, the Grade 1 says that when you ride the Grade 2 over him, you get a skill, that skill being a draw 2, and you either return 1 card in hand back to deck, or you just discard 2. So it's another version of the classic Zorga ride line, the one that's really good in any Stoke decks that uses orders. Or, what I found out from doing some testing, this is basically Leo. This is Leo Dragon's Grade 1, and it's just hilarious. Moving on to Grade 2, we have the Steam Fighter who has 2 abilities. First of all, on rearguard, he might be on rearguard sometimes, so he does get +5 if you do your Vanguard's main ability of binding cards. Cool. What's more important though is this on-ride ability, where when he's ridden by a Grade 3 Gear Dragon, once again, this will work in timestamp, or if Wishro didn't screw us over with the whole ride line restriction because some other decks may have slightly done something to it. This makes a really good substitute for Chronojet, not gonna lie. But you check your top 5, and then you're either gonna call a Grade 3 or lower rearguard, or if not, he comes out. Once again, go into other decks. Hound Raisers. This is the same as the Barkatar. So basically looking at either a check top 5 filter or a free call that's going to turn to 15k attacker, which, spoilers, is then going to leave the field because you like to bind in this deck a lot. Speaking of which, I guess we should probably go over the Grade 3. Obviously, we run 3 extra copies. It has to be a Persona ride. This is the Temporal Fist Dragon, Crowind Dragon. So glad that ended up being Crowind because, like, Chrono, Rewind, gear name kind of cool. He has 2 separate abilities. First of all, his once returned skill, you can bind a card from the soul. Pay attention to this wording for a second because it does have to do with another card's ability. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, put it on bomb deck, and if your opponent happens to be Grade 3 or greater, then this is going to get +5 to turn. Makes him 18k if you go second. Okay, this is the go first deck. I mean, you want to go second just to get +5, but it doesn't really matter if you go first or second. The point is that you're going to be binding cards from soul to bomb deck cards. This is a form of control that you actually have that, once again, is very similar to the original OG Avatar's on-stride ability to bomb deck units. What makes him slightly different from Chronojet, though, is his second ability on attack, you counterblast, and you're going to bind 2 rear guards. Search your deck for up to 2 cards with a total grade equal to the grades that you bound for this cost. Call them each to the same column and then shuffle your deck. Important thing to notice with this, it does say the same column, so I'm just going to use the right line right here. So you have a Grade 3 that you bound. Aha, what up? You can now call a 2 and a 1. 2, 1, boom. They do have to be in the same column, unfortunately, so you can't just go like this and have 5 attacks that way. Unfortunate, it does restrict you to 4 attack turn, but does make it so your pattern is basically rearguard, Vanguard. What if you call the rearguard and just buff that rearguard, which gives a solid 4th attack? But it's okay because you are clearing your board and setting up for future plays, of course. The only bad thing about this is that it's just the Vanguard attack on its own is very non-threatening. It's just 13k/18k normal twin driving attack. Oh no, a Gear Chronicle deck doesn't get triple drive somehow. But because that I am opting to run in my trigger lineup, which is very basic, the Galgameg Overtrigger, the original one for Dark States. Yes, you could run your red in here because it will give you a 5th attack guaranteed. You could run purple in here because it gives you a 5th attack guaranteed. But I just like the fact that you're giving a Vanguard pressure in a deck that otherwise doesn't have Vanguard pressure. Your pressure is coming from your 4th attack, which we'll talk about in right about Grade 4, baby. So yeah, this is the start of the show. Of course, we're gonna run 4 copies of him because he has basically 4 different effects. I need 2 more silverwares, I guess. I don't know. This deck is super cheap to go, by the way. Like, outside of the support stuff, the very core of this deck, if you just get base rarity, probably spend like $5-10 and get like every card I'm about to talk about that's just introduced to the set. We have the Eternal Overload Colossus, a Grade 4 unit that has triple drive, even though he cannot be ridden, which kind of makes that pointless. Got a couple abilities. First of all, he has a skill in hand, which is great in case these are clogging your opening hand or whatever. Once you are on your Grade 3 Crowind, you're able to Energy Blast 3. This is the first time I'm going to say Energy Blast this video. You do that a lot. There is a lot of things that happen this EBT cost. So pay the cost, bind him, and draw 2 cards. This is the pot of greed that puts itself in the bind zone, which is good because I've been saying already, you want stuff bound. This is why I want stuff bound. When he is called by the ability of Crowind, aka off your 4th attack skill. He's gonna get skills based on the grade count of your cards in bind zone that are specifically Dark State. This is like the worst part of the entire deck, just the fact that it has to be Dark State. No more Griffin Gila, have fun, haha, party, funny, fun. Because these skills basically go up in intervals of grade 10. So Griff will be like one of these skills on his own. At 10, he's gonna get plus 20 until end of turn, and then at the end of the turn he binds himself and you draw cards replacing himself. Really good. 20 or more once return at the end of the battle. It's attacked, counterblast 1, and restand this. So you do have a 5th attack built into the deck. You just have to be at 20 and bind. And the silly finisher, which you may or may not ever get to. So just take this last skill with a grain of salt. But that is that this unit gets plus 1 crit. Keep in mind, this comes after the restand. So you have 2 double crit attacks for 38k. That's kind of shenasty coming after the Vanguard. Have fun getting defensive triggers to stop this guy. That last skill is very much a finisher because have fun getting high grade counts up in the bind zone. There are ways to modulate this, of course. We are getting some new support in the next set that will help out a little bit. But for the most part, it's just going to be a 38k that might restand, which is still good. Obviously, we have to run 4 copies because you need to stack them off to draw with your own skill and just to have them in deck to call them out with Crowind, which means that you want to be able to bind a grade 4 or more with his skill. Of course, we got some grade 3 modulation here. First of all, this is a card I haven't talked about in forever and a half. We have Nocturizo, 2 copies of them. This is your copy of like your stride guy that like if you're on a grade 4 or if you reveal a grade 4, you get some cool skills. Obviously, you discard them for ride line, specifically if you're a grade 3 turn and draw a card. We use them for first skill, really. Let's be real. We use them for the ability that says counterblast 1, draw a card, choose 2 cards from your drop zone, and put them back into Soul. This silly combo with this, obvious as obvious. If you have these 2 in your hands, oh no, you don't have shield. That's fine, whatever. Turn 3, you explode. You can discard this for ride line, draw a card if you want. If you don't, it's fine because spoilers, I'm about to show you a card in a couple minutes that makes these 2 really, really good. But you're basically just gonna call this, draw a card, put like whatever you put your ride line back in Soul to have it ready to bind with this guy's ability, and then EV3, draw 2 cards. Congratulations, you drew like 3 cards for having 2 grade 3 or higher in hand. Like I said, it's really cool to just have this step ability because you do want to have high grades in Soul to bind for this so you can get his skills off a lot faster because this is a very grade 3 centric deck. Oh no, shield, rest in peace, but you are making up for that by the fact that you draw out the butt. Like I said though, very good card that I'm going to reveal in 2 seconds. It's been like 2 seconds now. This is Forbidal. I'm lucky I have this one, not normal Forbidal, because that one is like a zillion times more expensive. And this is the part where I just plug my TCG player shop. Check it out if you want to support me on the channel. This is like an oldie but goodie for a Regalis piece of choice. It lets you essentially search your deck or drop for 2 grade 3 or grade 4 cards with different names. Reveal them, and then if you got a grade 3, you call it. If you got a grade 4, add to your hand. Once again, this comes very well with these 2 specific cards. Oh no, you had to discard this for ride line, or you had to discard this for ride line. Or Forbidal. Add whichever one you add back to hand, call the other one. By the way, boom. Do the same combo I just said. Reveal, draw 2 cards, put card souls, draw cards, draw cards. I don't even remember how many cards I draw on my first grade 3 turn because these 3 cards exist. You will basically be ending most of your turns with 10 plus cards in hand, which is back to stride numbers. I love it. Yeah, Forbidal is great in here. You can either thin deck with it, or if you had to discard these for any reason, add them back to hand. There's a reason that normal was like $60, and it's probably not this deck, but we're gonna pretend like it is. Then last grade 3 we're gonna talk about while we're on the Morikawa train is the other support card for this deck, Balilama. Looks kind of like Agent 7. Go check out the first official Common Rider to be dubbed in English, I guess. I don't know. Very basic 2-skill unit. First of all, use your +5/+5 if you have a Gear Dragon. Once again, this says Gear Dragon. This does not say Crowind. So if you really want to, you can just slide it into one of the other 2. But his first cool kid ability is another EB3. During your main phase, if a card was bound, you're able to Energy Blast 3 and call it to rear guard. This makes it, once again, another card that is fine to field and have it be retired / discard for ride line. And basically works good synergy with this. Skill, Yo Dog, what up? Boom, rear guard, boom. Bind this, you're already at your 3, you just need 1 more grade to go back into Colossus Boy. So very basic, we are running 4 right now. This is something that might be cycled down to 3 or 2 of because it's not the most necessary. And like I said, you are going to be Energy Blast 3ing a lot, so you have to pick and choose your skills for this. But him having shield is nice in a deck that has a lot of grade 3s, and being ATK attacker is also nice. We don't have more Morikawa time. Let's talk about some cards that are not grade 3. First of all, it's obviously very important to always have these grade 4s chilling out in your deck, and a good way to do that is to cycle them back in from the bind zone. To do that, we have 4 copies of what's like 3 copies? Did that run 4 birds? Okay then, so we run 3 copies of this card, and I feel like I've already found something that needs to be cycled out for one of these, but you should run 4, it's just that good. Gear Parrot of the Parrotude is one of the reasons I call this deck the new Zodiac Time Beasts, and that's because we use a lot of Gear Chronicle based animals. Maybe not the right Zodiac, but shut up and counts. So we got a couple skills. If you have a Gear Dragon Vanguard, this was something that was kind of cool in Chrono Jet, but really shines here because of the Mind Zone Manipulation. And that is because its first skill, when it is placed, choose up to 1 normal unit without Sentinel from your drop or Mind Zone. Shove it back in deck and it gets like +5 or whatever. You found all 4 of these in Mind Zone. Oh no! Well, there he goes. You call him again. Cool. You can also use from drop zone if he's chilling out, or like any other important card that happens to be in one of those 2 zones. Unfortunately, you can't cheat and put triggers or perfect cards back in. Whatever. You're still cycling most important units. Then he has another skill that once again costs either an Energy Blast or Counter Blast. When this card is bound, so you could Crowind it as part of your combo if you really want to. You get to draw a card, choose one of your units, give a +5. Number modulation is nice. It does cost a resource for +5, which I'm not a big fan of, but if you do need that number, whatever, it's cool. You get to draw a card. Once again, you're drawing out of like every orifice for this deck. This is the draw deck that doesn't need draw triggers. 3 copies of this apparently, I would say 4. I guess our 4th is the goated goat. Not a fan of goats, but this one I am a fan of. Once again, the Energy Blast 3 skill, which keep on saying Energy Blast 3, and I do not like that because you only get 3 energy a turn, which makes me surprisingly a very high skill stealing deck. The EB3 skill is though another version of Parrot. After it's attacking, you're able to bomb deck this card and draw a card, choose up to 1 of your rear guards or up to 1 card in your bind zone, put in bomb deck. Once again, like if you have the column, oh wee, here we go. This is also very funny because they can put triggers back in deck. Oh no, you drew your over trigger. Boo-ba-doo-boop-boop-ba-doop skill. There they go, see you later. It's essentially just another copy of Bird in the sense of cycling cards back from your mind zone, back to your deck. This one could also do it from field as well, if you need to get stuff out of the way for a control matchup or something like that. And he also gets +5 if you Soul Blast. Cool. I guess we'll go with the last gear animal next, because it is another support unit. We have 4 Forgs. I might switch out the 4th Forg for 4th Bird because I feel like Bird's more important. This says that when it's placed from hand, another reason to maybe run 4 over that. You know what? We're just going to say that. It's final deck list 4-3. If you are on Crowind, choose up to 1 normal unit without Sentinel from your drop or bind zone, put on bottom of your deck. And if you choose a grade 3 or greater Soul Charge 1, and give it +5. Once again, this is another variation of these 2 gear animals. Guess what? They all do the same thing, which is great because as long as you know how to play these cards correctly, you're always going to have this ready to call from your skill. And for this one, you build Soul back, great for Crowind's ability, and make him a 13k attacker. So you go Shaboom 13. This, I guess, Agent something Zets. Bind these 2, grade 4. What up?
Isn't that amazing?
Once again, I do think I might be changing out the numbers on these. This is very much an early build, but something I wanted to show off and go over the things. And we're running 4 because this is, well, a direct support unit, I guess. But being placed from hand kind of sucks. Half the time you are placing cards from your bind skill. This might be one of the things that you cycle out for the new dog when it comes out, because dogs are better. But Frogzite. Speaking of support units, let's move on to some generics. We have our 1 copy of the Cyclone Choice. That's right, we are literally running 2 grade 2s this deck because of how ratios work. This is a bit of a toss-up between that and Laminia. We're running her right now because she is a gear-looking unit and just uses during your opponent's battle phase to also guard. So for the sake of diversity, this is a little bit better. But once again, EB3, guess what we do in this deck a lot? Laminia, I haven't gone over here in a while. This is your standard when used for ride deck. You get to Soul Blast 1, put that bottom draw card. And it also has a Persona Ride skill, Counter Blast 1, when placed from hand. That's fine. I mean, if you place this from deck from the Crowind skill, it would just be cheating because it calls a card out of your soul and then replace it with a Soul Charge 1. This turns your 1 card into 2 cards, which is always nice. It does take it out of soul, which kind of sucks for Crowind, but I mean, you're just going to be filling it with another soul, so free versus skill to just Soul Charge 1 and get boost and +5, which is alright. I mean, boosting grade 2. Oh no, look at these grade 2s on the field. Swing for whatever that is. Bind 4. There's your 4 right there. Pick and choose between these 2, whatever resource you think is more important. Energy versus Soul and Counterblast. At the same energy or what? I run 3 of these. You should run 4. I only own 3. This is probably the most important card in the deck because of its on place from hand energy charge 1. Oh no, you don't always charge from hand. That's fine. You can still use the Psychic skill because you know how I keep on saying energy blast 3. She has a skill. It says at the end of the battle boosted, if you energy blasted 3 that turn, sack it off, draw card. You are going to use this every single time. Almost every turn, you will be finding a way to energy blast 3. So This is always live, just to draw a free card. And like I said, if you can play this early game or play from hand in any way, shape, or form, it does slightly increase your energy gauge. Absolutely around 4. This would be another thing to take out the 4th frog for. Then for resource management, we have 1 copy of Cat. This is your standard bind 2 things for a ride line, do a thing. This one lets you countercharge, which is really, really good. And finally, the last support card. I'm not talking about the triggers. I already told you about triggers and perfect guards and triggers and perfect guards. We have the Steam Shooter Amethyst, who has 2 different skills. First of all, at the end of battle, that it boosted if you have a geared dragon with Persona Ride. Bind this and draw a card. Oh no, it doesn't work on Chrono Jet. That's fine. You still use it in the other 2. Once again, another card lets you draw. Once again, another card that increases your bind count. Coolio, but was even coolioer is that her first effect actually interacts with that, and that is the fact that during the, oh my god, she has a Mega Skarmory. During your turn, if any player's rear guard was put into the bottom of their deck or bound this turn, this gets grade +1 and +2k, make you a 10k beater / booster that more importantly is a grade 2. This, as far as I've been made aware, after asking some judges and stuff, does stick when you're targeting her. So you effectively have a grade 1 that acts as a grade 2, and when you Crowind it counts as a grade 2. So that's a 2, plus just use another 2 or one of your many 3s to call out a grade 4 and another grade 1 as a booster. Really solid. This will also activate because it's a continuous skill. So if you do happen to Crowind into Colossus and not copy this, she'll still be treated as a 10k booster that is a grade 2. So, you know, 48k column. Cool. But that is the basics of Crowind, the Zodiac Time Beasts of standard for now. Real quick trigger, like I said, we run crits, we run fronts. You could run draws, but you just draw so much in this deck. And like I said, you will be hitting a 4 attack guaranteed / maybe 5th / maybe 6th if you want to change this out for red or purple over trigger. I think Alchemage is fine here. Once again, Vanguard doesn't really have too much pressure on its own, so that just gives you constant Vanguard pressure. What do you guys think? Is this like the coolest deck that you can build for $5, or are you just gonna still spend 10 billion because you have cards like that and that? And this is like $8 now for some reason. Comment down below how you think this stacks up to other gear decks like Chrono Jets or, you know, the one I've been using as sleeves. And what cool techs that you can think of that I didn't go over today. Until next time, thank you guys for watching. If this comes out before next week, I will see you back in Georgia. We're not running this deck. I'll be running something that you guys, well, let's not spoil it for the vlog, but we're definitely going to bring Nauticlear with me for fun because I love this mat so much. I love Ruker so much. And like, honestly, I can't wait to give you the updated profile for Nauticlear. That deck absolutely slaps. It has so much potential. But this is a Gear Chronicle deck, so until next time, here's a Gear Chronicle card. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and always embrace the infinite.